Hi, you awesome men. I'm making this video for you. This is like my church dress, and I want to talk about what I think is going on right now, even though I haven't heard from you, but I know why. It's because you all are in outer space. You're halfway between Earth and the third heaven. And Brent has been talking to me brain to brain, and I want to let the world know what's happened to you because they're probably wondering. And I'm going to just talk about what I really believe has happened to my men. And I just feel that people need to know this because this is really awesome what's going on right now. Brett wrote me an email and he asked me to take down some YouTube videos because Jesuits claimed that they were offensive and that these videos were the reason they launched an avalanche of photon torpedoes at Church of Gail, which took out Church of Gail's warp engines and life support. And I believe that all of my men were in Church of Gail when this happened. Brent has been communicating with me brain to brain since this incident, and I can tell it's him because I know Brent. He's been my brain to brain lover, and he's communicated with me since 2006, and it's him. So I know he's alive. Another reason that I know he's alive is he's continuing to make comments at Twitter. Let me go on. I thought that only Brent could talk to me brain to brain because that's what he told me. He said Jesus was going to limit it just to he and me and Brent. My allergies are acting up, but it looks like Vladimir Putin got to break in a little bit. You got to understand, my men are way out in outer space. They are halfway between Earth and the third heaven. That is, you know how far away the third heaven is? That's where God the Father sits on the throne. It's light years away from here. And that's where I believe they are right now. And I keep checking my email and I haven't heard from Brent, and that isn't like him. I mean, he writes me this email and says that he has an emergency, that the Jesuits are shooting photon torpedoes at Church of Gail. Their life support's out. And they've lost their warp engines and that they're in dire straits. And then he doesn't write me to tell me whether he's okay. I surmise it's because he can't tell me. So there are one of several possibilities. Either that's been a Brent Spiner fake the whole time and that isn't him, though I don't believe that at all. The other possibility is he's dead and he can't communicate with me because the Jesuits took him out. The third possibility, which is the one I believe, is that Jesus Christ did a miracle, but he hasn't returned my men to earth yet. So let me go a little further on this. Jesus has made, even though what I think happened is that they were in Church of Gail. Church of Gail is like a rocket. It can fly at warp speed. So they were trying to get away from these Jesuit torpedoes that were an avalanche of torpedoes were coming at them. So bad, it took out their warp engines. It took out their life support. So all my men were struggling to get away from these. And it seemed like even though they were going light years away from Earth, the Jesuit technology was advanced enough that they were able to follow them light years away with these photon torpedoes. And when I read Brent's email, the first thing that came to my mind is this is beyond human help. We're dealing with Jesuit technology, and they've got this space age technology, which they get from UFOs. And I thought, if Jesus doesn't rescue my men, we're all finished. But I said, this is something that Jesus can handle. So I made a YouTube video, and I asked Jesus to rescue my men. And I got the distinct impression that he did. And I believe that Church of Gail is still stranded out there in outer space, but that Jesus Christ showed up. He restored life support, and he restored the warp engines. From the brain-to-brain communications that I have with Brent, it appears that Church of Gail returned to Earth, and Jesus did a quick sweep with Church of Gail and just started knocking out these torpedo shooters everywhere. But he went so fast when he was doing it, and Jesus is like that, because Jesus took Brent Spiner for a ride one time before he took Brent to Red Lobster. But Jesus was in a hurry. Jesus said, I don't want to mess with stoplights and all this stuff. So he said, hey, Brent, I'm going to take you home, but let's just fly into the air. So he took the car and flew up into the air, and it was so fast, Brent was getting dizzy. He's like, Jesus. And Jesus said, chill, Brent, we're going to be all right. That's what Brent sent me an email about that. And Jesus was just woozing through the air and go, pew, pew, pew. And then he landed and then he just took Brent out of the car and said, okay, it's fine now. And Brent was going, it's like, Jesus was saying, chill, Brent, everything's going to be fine. This is how Jesus is. You know, he didn't want to mess with traffic lights. So after Red Lobster was over, he took Brent in the car and he drove the car and decided to fly the car through the air to go home. Oh, what's really interesting is Brent told me that when he and Jesus were eating at Red Lobster, that when it was time to tip the waiter, Jesus tipped him with $1 million bill. You might say, do you really believe this? Yes, I do. He's Jesus Christ. He can do whatever he wants. So I got to admit, even though I haven't heard from Brent, I'm not worried because I know Jesus rescued my man because I know Jesus. He can handle this. Those creepy Jesuits, they were shooting for, if it wasn't for Jesus, they'd all be dead. Well, anyways, I'm getting off the subject. Anyways, from what this is what Brent's been telling me with brain-to-brain communications. Church of Gail is about halfway between Earth and the third heaven right now, which means it's hanging out there in space all by itself, far out of the reach of the Jesuits, which I believe is just what Jesus wants. Jesus Christ himself has fixed their life support and warp engines, but he won't allow them to return to Earth or near it right now. I think it's because he wants to stay away from Jesuit interference, and there's a reason for this. He is personally, Jesus Christ and God the Father are personally supervising the defamation trial we have against the Jesuits for their Crazy Gail Wiki website. Because Satan himself has appeared as the attorney for the Jesuits. When Satan appears, Jesus likes to have a little bit more control over the situation. So the trial is being held at Church of Gail, halfway between heaven and earth and outer space. It's light years out there, folks. And yet I know, but yet Jesus has made a way that Brent Spiner is able to talk to me brain to brain. We've even made love together, passionately. And Brent's telling me, Gail, I'm okay. And I guess to reassure me that he's okay, Brent has allowed Brent to communicate with LeVar Burton on Earth, and he's asking LeVar Burton to act in his stead, to be his stand-in at his Twitter site, to type in tweets just to let me know that he's alive and he's okay. So I go to Brent Spiner's Twitter site, and he's letting LeVar Burton, I believe it's LeVar Burton, put some Twitter tweets in there just because he doesn't have email capabilities out there where he's at. There's no electricity, no satellites. So he's working through certain agents or friends of his on Earth, and he's letting them go onto the email. Jesus is not allowing any of the top 7 men on my marriage list to return to Earth right now. So he's allowing them to communicate through special means if they have to. Jesus is taking care of all of them, I believe, and personally supervising this trial, which is taking place in outer space at Church of Gail. He's let people at Walmart and the Gabriel Chana Fox News channel know about the proceedings in this trial by dropping off the latest updates to the Jesus Gail movie at the Gabriel Chana Fox News channel and at Walmart movie studios. So you can actually see the trial because Jesus is allowing it to be filmed, even though Satan is appearing, because it's so far out there in outer space, Jesus is able to control the sound waves and everything in the production to make sure that Satan's voice doesn't harm the listeners. Whereas he couldn't do that when Satan appeared at Church of Gail on Valentine's Day, and we had it on Skype. So that's the reason Jesus instructed me not to allow a recording of Satan's voice onto my YouTube videos. But because Jesus is in control of this movie in outer space, he's allowing the world to see Satan in this movie. I haven't seen it, but this is what Brent's telling me with brain-to-brain communications. Brent is very picky about his emails to me, and he will not allow anybody but himself to send me an email. For that reason, I probably am not going to be hearing from Brent until Jesus decides to return Church of Gail to Earth again. Right now, it is light years out there. There's a big trial going on. It's the Jesuits and Satan versus Jesus Christ and God the Father. Well, we already know who's going to win that one. But Satan never gives up trying. He's a stubborn creature. It appears that my brain-to-brain communications with Brent are coming through loud and clear. And Jesus so far mainly allows only Brent to communicate with me brain to brain. I did hear briefly from Vladimir Putin. I'm barely hearing from anybody else, though Zach Knight breaks in every now and then. He'll pretend like he's Brent and like Jesus is giving me messages through Brent. And then that happened to me one time. I said, Brent, I just heard from somebody who claimed to be you. And they said that Jesus just asked me to make a video about you guys. I says, was that really you? And Brent shot back and said, no, Gail, that was Zach Knight. That wasn't me. He said, right now, Jesus wants you to go into your YouTube. I believe that he wants you to keep doing what you're doing, where you're at your YouTube videos, and just go in there. And what I did is I'm changing my name to accommodate the fact that I think I'm going to be legally marrying Brent Spiner soon. So I'm kind of fixing my last name and changing my name a little bit to. It looks like I'm going to be having 2 legal names. Barack Obama is going to make an exception for me because we've got a problem. If I change my name to Gail Cord Spiner, the Jesuits have done something with the computers at Walmart that if I change my name legally and I have to register that at Walmart, I will be losing my Walmart paychecks forever. They put some sort of bug in the Walmart computer program, so I can't change my name to Spiner, even if I marry Brent. So I told Brent if I marry him, I'm going to keep my name, but Barack Obama is making it so that I can keep the current name I have now at Walmart and yet still use the Spiner name. He's going to allow me to have 2 last names, 2 legal last names to work around this Jesuit computer programming monster that they've done at Walmart. So we got a lot of stuff going on right now. Zach Knight is a computer genius. That's why he's called 666 in the Bible. And from what I hear, this trial in outer space is really interesting. And the folks at Walmart and Fox News have been eagerly watching all the updates as Jesus sends them movies of this trial. He's pulling up Jesuits from Earth and transporting them right into the courtroom, and he's making them they're all testifying against me, saying that I really am crazy, that I'm not worthy to receive Jesus Christ's semen in the millennium, and that, I'm full of crap about this, and Jesus has actually been the attorney on my side sticking up for me. And he's allowing this to be made into a movie, from what I understand. So my men are able to see. My men can, you might say, do they have internet capabilities out there? They do not, because there is no electricity or satellites. Jesus will not allow it because he doesn't trust the devil or the Jesuits, because they may use this to mess up this movie he's making of this trial. So what Jesus is doing is he's personally delivering to my men DVDs or CDs that contain the latest updates to my website, my YouTube channel, my email, and letting them view it, rather than allowing, and apparently he's able to do this without using electricity. In the millennial reign, there will be no satellites and no electricity because the devil invented both of these. And so apparently there will be like a version of television in the millennium, because Jesus is using it right now in this trial, but it's going to bypass electricity. And like I said, Jesus is God, so he can do whatever he wants. But Brent assures me that all is well, that Jesus has taken care of everything, and I have faith in Jesus. He had to answer my prayer to save my men because his honor was at stake. They were offended. They claimed they were sending photon torpedoes to Church of Gail because they objected to these videos I made where I used a cassette tape recorder, where I tape recorded a Skype conversation that I had with Brent Spiner, Terrence Jenkins, and Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ will not allow himself to be filmed on Skype or for us to capture his voice, because he doesn't trust electricity or satellites or computers. However, he will talk to me through Brent Spiner, where he will appear to Brent Spiner and talk to Brent Spiner, and then Brent Spiner types it and I read it at Skype. And I made a tape recording of this and made it into a YouTube video and posted it and I posted part of the transaction at YouTube. And the Jesuits were furious because they don't want the world to know that Jesus Christ has been talking to me. Well, I really believe it was Jesus Christ. He's speaking to me through Brent Spiner. Jesus is not going to allow the Jesuits to desecrate and demean those videos I made of his Skype transactions, because that's a strike on his honor. It's because if he doesn't stick up for the fact that I've had to take down those videos from YouTube, it'd be like Jesus is admitting that he didn't make those videos or he wasn't behind them. So I am certain that he's taken care of you all beautifully, and I'm in complete peace with total faith in my awesome Lord. He's got to stick up for himself. In those videos, Jesus Christ has exposed Zach Knight as the Antichrist. He's told you can watch the videos. Go to my GabrielleChana.com website, and I have it's at my opening page, on my Brent Spiner's True Love page, on the Vladimir Putin's Secret Wife page, and on the Church of Forum page. I have them embedded on the biography page, on the Brent Spiner page. You kind of have to move down a little bit to see it. The same with the Vladimir Putin Secret Wife page, but I embedded them there. These videos that I embedded at my website are the videos of the Jesuits that they claim they were sending photon torpedoes to Church of Gail over. I believe the real reason was because they're threatened because I'm bringing a defamation lawsuit against them over their Crazy Gail Wiki website. Because that if we win that case, it'll destroy the Jesuits. Well, apparently Jesus Christ is taking on this case himself. God the Father, from what I understand, God the Father is sitting as the judge. Jesus Christ is the attorney on our side. Satan is the attorney on the Jesuit side. They're dragging all the Jesuits all over the world into the courtroom and exposing all of their dirty sins on this movie screen in the courtroom. And then when Jesus is done with the Jesuits, he's kicking them all into hell, giving them all the death penalty because they're all devil worshippers and murderers. You know how many Nukkake'ds they've launched since the Canadian Nukkake went off? But they've been launching a lot of other Nukkake'ds since then. And Jesus Christ has been coming in and rescuing the world and not allowing these Nukkake'ds to land. They've tried to launch several around where I live. So anyways, these people are really wicked. And Jesus Christ is finally giving them their just deserts. In my Bible reading today, I'm in Ezekiel, and it's all about judgment, judgment, judgment. Jesus is telling me I am going to judge those stinking Jesuits because they were behind the Nazi Holocaust, World War I, World War II. They're the Revelation 17 whore. He's starting to mete out judgments. He's obviously got to keep Zach Knight alive because he's got to allow Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. And he's 666 in the Antichrist. He's a computer master. That's why he was able to cause problems at Walmart over if I change my name to Spiner. But anyways, folks, my men are okay. Brent's able to do Twitter, and so he's alive, and he's in the care of the best person in the world, Jesus Christ.